Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Intrix and I'm covering another Conqueror's Blade video, this time the Ironcap Scout Cavalry. If you're looking to have a low level cavalry unit that can do some damage, this is your glass cannon. And it's very affordable too, and it's also a great way to practice cavalry. Coatliers are also a great choice as well. I personally like the Ironcap Scouts a little bit better, but either way, we'll get in a little bit more about the mechanics and the builds around the Ironcap Scouts, and kind of just elaborate a little bit from how they operate in Season 2 to kind of how they do now in Season 3. Looking at the doctrines here, it's green across chart. It's good to put really good doctrines on them. If you got gray, put them on because we get grays quite easily. But as soon as you get a better doctrine, try to slap it on there if this is a unit that you intend on playing quite a bit. Just know that until you pretty much get it max leveled or elite it, it's not going to be its true potential. But once you get it all maxed out and you got some good doctrines on there that complement your playstyle, best believe that this is a very affordable glass cannon. And if you played right, played in certain scenarios, because it is a situational unit for sure, it doesn't have the capabilities of just charging hidden on anything. It will definitely melt. Season 3 has definitely made sure that if you try that, it ain't really going to happen. But if you wrap around quick enough, you can definitely get some good flanks. And there's been scenarios where I've at least popped off 2 or 3 charges before they weren't really sustainable anymore and I had to use something else for a unit. But if you play your cards right and you time everything up pretty well, you can definitely get some uses out of this, and believe me, they do pack a punch, and we'll get a little bit more into that as well. Uh, for doctrines, in Season 2, apparently they were faster than what they are in Season 3, and that's the only thing that I've seen so far in patch notes and changes. But to me, I don't really see much of a difference in their speed. They're still quite fast, but we can kind of play around with the mechanics and make them quicker. So, like, you could put the blue speed doctrine on them if you do have that, and that would help significantly. But they already by default get a speed buff as you level them up and progress through their veterancy tree. Um, what would probably be better is for them to kind of have the ability to do as much damage as they can and treat them as a disposable unit. They're cheap enough that at some point, you can farm green horses and eventually get Ironcap Scout kits quite easily just by playing the game anyway and participating in territory wars, feat quests, and all that. So, um, if you were to put any doctrines on them, you could probably put the blue breakthrough and the blue assassination doctrines, and that will do damage to all units, and the other one will do damage to heroes. But if you want to, say, have some speed, because you definitely want the health, and it helps to have the armor penetration and the uh, slashing damage as well. But depending on how you want them to actually operate, you could kind of make them a little bit more quicker. They'll get out of the scenario quicker. It really depends on your playstyle, and it might take a little bit of playing around. So if you were to actually put blue doctrines on them, make sure that that's the build you want, because they're kind of hard to obtain. It takes a while. It takes a lot of grinding. So regardless, let's pop into their tree here and just look. So the bottom one is really not worth it at all. Um, like, it's just more open world benefits that, especially in Season 3, just really doesn't make a difference anymore. Even some doctrines aren't that really necessary anymore, especially where you can just replenish your food in AI owned region as well as your house or alliance regions. So yeah, food consumption isn't really a big issue anymore, and I find it's just a waste to use those doctrines. You're better off breaking them down. But it really comes down to your playstyle. Maybe you're not in your region very much and you're out doing other things. It just really depends. But the bottom tree, not even worth it. So you look at the top, the wedge formation, that's a nice formation to have. And boom, so you get increased movement speed by 10% after you level that up. And that's probably why I haven't really seen much of a difference anyway. It's probably more noticeable at the base level when you first get the unit. Then again, it might be very noticeable to other people. Just to me, I haven't really played the unit enough, but I find that it runs fast just as is anyway. So it's not really a big deal. They move quick enough that they could even run ahead of me because my horse is going to run out of energy, and makes it pretty good for setting up to kind of come behind. And this is where it gets fun because you unlock charge. Now this unit's actually great to kind of play with, and this is what is the whole hidden gem thing. But it takes a while, right? You got to grind it out. It's going to be really repetitive. But once you hit here, it's like boom. Now you finally unlock something that makes the unit meta change altogether. And then right off the bat, you're increasing the charge damage. Okay, that's a good thing. A little bit of slashing damage, because why not? When you're charging in, they're still going to have the opportunity to slash at someone, very much like any of the other cav units. So, even though they're not this intense, strong cavalry unit, what they're getting most of their power from is that charge, and they go quick, and horses hurt if they run into you. So even though it's a light cavalry unit, this charge is really not to be taken lightly, because once you elite them, that is a huge increase to charge damage. Huge. And that really changes the meta of the unit. So it is a bit of a grind to get there. And I mean, for a 2-star unit, that is pretty impressive. Like, there's nothing wrong with these light cavalry units. I mean, even if you were to roll with 2 heavy cav units, you might be able to slide one of these in. Chances are you might have to play a 5-star cav, a 4-star cav, and then you might be able to squeeze this one in, especially with the leadership changes in Season 3, but maybe even a level 5 cav and 2 level 3 cavs. There really is no such thing as a bad cav. It's just they're all different and unique in their own way. Yes, it is a bit harder to play them in Season 3, but it just means that you got to group up, communicate, and actually play with other cav squads. Other people got to play cav, and you got to roll together and do things together. You can't just be the all-star player with your one unit of cav and just go out there and wreck everything anymore. Kind of is what it is. Not really going to elaborate much into it, or get into the whole politics of it. It's just the way that the game is. But with that being said, it doesn't change the fact that the units are the units. And if you just play them slightly differently, a little bit more smarter, and that might mean that you just don't play them as much, unfortunately. But hey, you're the player. We all got our own way of playing, right? So I'm just kind of breaking it all down, throwing out some angles, and just letting everybody kind of get a feel to think about different ways of how this unit can really work for you. But no doubt, level this top tree. It's the only way you're going to have fun with this unit. If you go to the bottom tree, you best believe you're not going to be happy with your investment. So, yeah, once you actually put your time in, that's not bad at all. And I mean, yeah, they're kind of squishy, but it's a timing thing. And if you get in, you might be able to pop off at least 2 or 3 more charges. And their cooldown on their charge is actually quite low. So you're looking around half a minute, 30 seconds or so. It's not a bad unit at all. Now we're going to look at their tree, their nodes on the unit tree here. So this is another element that you can go and change your speed without actually applying that doctrine. So between the 10% you get on their veterancy tree and the 10% that you could level here, so 750, that would cost you 750 plus double that. So you'd be 750 for the first level, 1500 for the second level. That would already by default make them quite fast. And I mean, as I explained, I'm already playing them without this level, and they're kind of on top of me. And, just a little bit of damage, right? So, same thing, 750, every level doubles, so it would be 1500, and to level it again would be 3000 honor. Now, this is a decent unit to have. Colts are the same thing, they're just the lance unit. I think that just the playstyle for me, the scout cavalry works more. But this either tree you go is kind of good. Prefecture Heavy Cav is a nice mid-tier unit. It's definitely one of the better ones that I like to use, even though I don't have it unlocked. I've played it before under the auxiliaries, and it is a decent unit, and it's a good filler for kind of like in between the low to kind of higher tier. And if you already got a 5-star cav, this is a good follow up to throw into the mix. Kind of, have a little bit of variety. These guys are definitely great. They got a great charge as well. I just can't elaborate much into it right now because I don't own them. Therefore, I'm not going to make a video about them right now. I would like to play them more. Um, I went with the coats. I haven't really played them. I just unlocked them more so because my ideal goal was to go with the wing hussars. Same thing with the yeomen. I haven't unlocked them. I'm pretty weak on my cav. I haven't even really played much with my cav. Not until I actually got winged hussars, and I kind of regret not putting more time into my lower level cavs. So I think I will do that because I mean I got to get those scouts maxed out. But regardless of how you go about which tree, Daggerates Lancers as well. They're not bad. Um, I find that if you were to go with either tree, uh, maybe Hussars kind of hold off for the time being. Season 3 has really kind of hurt them in the sense of it's already a pretty dispersed unit in formations. So it makes it harder to kind of charge into things, especially where the obstacle damage comes in, and especially if you don't even got them elite, because if their charge gets interrupted, it's just not really fun. Not trying to talk down to the wing hussars. I love them. It's why I wanted them. It's just they're kind of hurting me in season 3, man. These devs are really, really doing something. They're not as enjoyable to use right now, man. These guys are killing me, and yeah, it just sucks to put in that time, but hey, it's game meta and it will change. I'm just throwing it out there that I think, regardless of what cav you use, honestly, it's just better to play with other people. You just can't be that whole, I'm going to run a game with my cav and be the superstar. It's just not going to happen. And it doesn't matter what you're playing, what game mode you're playing, even in territory war. Even in drill mode, you've seen how hard it is now to run through a village in drill mode or just in regular mode, with the new updates to the Thief AI and the resistance that you get. Before, you could just plow through it with Cavalry. One guy could just do it. That's definitely changed now, right? So, uh, Cav has always been a situational type of unit, and it kind of lost its purpose in that sense. So, I think now it kind of really falls back to more like, hey, if you're using it with an actual purpose and there's strategy behind it. Like, you can't just go out in every single scenario and just bulldoze everything. And that's kind of what they did. So, I mean, it's like once you play a game for a while and you get used to it, it's hard to adjust. But in all fairness, though, I feel like the changes were necessary, and it's just going to take time to get used to it. Fair is fair, It's just the way that games go. Things change, and you got to adapt. But season 3 for sure, like these new pikemen, definitely anti-cav. Like, oof. And then we got these temporary doctrines, and there's lots of goodies out there. So many to uncover. I keep finding new ones every day, and hey, if you got free slots on your doctrines, slap some of those on and have fun with them, play around. It's only temporary, so unfortunately, you play with it and you gotta try to learn right quick what it can do. But you can kind of do some amazing stuff with some of these doctrines that they're giving out now temporarily. So definitely, like, use them up before they expire at the end of the season. It might make your grind a little bit better and might make actually playing them a little bit more enjoyable. I know that the meta and the patch changes with the season has really kind of changed the way that Cav work, but it's all about mentality. So as long as you're thinking about it in a more positive, friendly, open at like way, it's going to kind of work for you. It's just find a buddy and roll Cav, man. Like, seriously, that's what I've been doing, and I think that works better going into season 3. And have cavalry units that complement each other. Like, yeah, sure, you both could roll monastic knights, and you probably would still do pretty better than being alone. But have things like have the wing hussars and monastic knights or something, right? Have the wing hussars break open the line for you, set you up. I mean, look, Cav is gonna wipe no matter what it is, right? You play smart, and you can definitely uh, hamper your losses, if you will. But you play Cav, and eventually you're gonna put a dent in your bank account, right? So yeah, it's been tough with season 3 changes and all that. It's definitely gonna hurt a lot of people's bottom line. Um, just depends on how long you're grinded and invested into the game. So if you're relatively new and you're already up in these higher tier Cav units, it's definitely gonna hurt to use them. So you know, this is why these lower tier Cav are the way to go, and you should be using them for a while. And if I actually did that, it probably would have hurt less than just go bang straight for Hussars and start playing them, because it's been costly even for me. But with that being said, um, hopefully that will summarize everything for you. Ironcap scouts are definitely not a force to be reckoned with. If they're left open on the flanks, you best believe that they will do damage. I'm almost likely to just upgrade these nodes here and max out their level and kind of just come back with a little mini recap video and just kind of express how I feel. Because I'm sure that, like, once I get to that point, they're level 14 and I got that extra charge damage, I'm sure I'm really going to love them even more. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video. Happy gaming, and I hope that Season 3 is going to be prosperous to you all. It's definitely going to be a fun season, and I'll see you out in the battlefield. Take care, everybody.